Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In this video, I've got a bunch of great news to cover. We're talking about Yuzu, Lemuroid, Launchbox, MAME, Skyline, and a bunch of retro gaming handhelds. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off here talking about Nintendo Switch emulation on Android with Skyline. We've got a whole bunch of new versions. If you head on over to skyline-emu.one, click on download, you'll find them all. As of this video, the latest version is 1.338. This person reports audio issues are no longer present in Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, but there still are some random crashes. And truth be told here, seeing the game running at 30 frames per second and looking really good is very encouraging. Super Mario Odyssey is running and looking better. This person has it up and running at 40 frames per second. Now, it's not fully playable from beginning to end. There are still some crashes. There's a lot to be worked through, but again, this is encouraging. I mean, you could try to play through Super Mario Odyssey, but chances are you'll end up with something that looks like this. And the Resident Evil 5 demo now gets in game, but without graphics. And this is on a Snapdragon 778G. And these new builds are hot off the press. I'm certain we're going to see a lot more gameplay as testers really sink their teeth into them. And I've been told that the developers are currently working on the GPU in the background, which might actually help out some rendering of some graphics in future builds. Next up here, we're still talking about Nintendo Switch emulation, but switching over to PC now with Yuzu. Yuzu's also got a brand new update. So this brings Yuzu up to mainline version 1.152. If you open up Yuzu, you should automatically be updated to this version. We've got two things here. One, raise the shader and pipeline cache version. And this might break previous caches, so if you're playing a game and possibly having an issue here and there, some hiccups, well, it might be because the game is rebuilding those caches and it should smooth out for you fairly quickly. And the second thing here, support rectangle textures. This fixes Fast RMX and the Tourist. Yuzu is free, it's open source, and I'll drop a link to it in the description below. If you haven't already, feel free to check it out. Next up here, we're talking about MAME. MAME stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or it stands for Multiple Arcade Machine Emulator. I guess it depends on how you want to interpret that. MAME has a brand new version. It's up to version 0.247. As always, I will drop a link to the entire changelog in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. There's a ton of information here, and we're just going over it at a high level. So in terms of things added, we've got some very interesting things here. They've added in the M&D Monon Color, which is a low-cost Chinese handheld console. They've also added in a prototype version of Tecmo Super Pinball Action. And this one is very interesting because it used separate screens for the simulated back glass and playfield. They've added in an initial driver for the second generation Sony News workstations based on MPS processors. They say it's been a long time coming. The Dracula and Game Pachinko. Mitcom Mahjong. These are, I don't necessarily know if these will be games that a lot of people are interested in, but at the same time it's cool that MAME has them. They've added in several Impera Magic card games, a few AstroCorp gambling games, and some previously missing no-CD versions of Capcom's Red Earth. They also state there's numerous bug fixes and emulation improvements across the board, and I think people will be interested in this one. It does include fixes for issues in Nintendo's NES Famicom-derived arcade systems. On top of that, there's a whole bunch of Game Boy Color prototypes marked as working. There are a few NES prototypes now marked as working, including Fighting Simulator World Champ. And there's a whole bunch of, I scrolled past it, SNES prototypes now marked as working. Most importantly here, in my opinion, my biased opinion is on the first line. The King of Fighters 98 Pirate Hacked and Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter Pirate Hacked. Next up here, we're talking about Lemuroid, which in my opinion is the easy version of RetroArch. If you're intimidated by RetroArch or possibly not liking how complicated RetroArch can be, try out Lemuroid. It's simple, it's straightforward, it's easy to use, and it works very well. Anyways, here Lemuroid has a brand new update. Now, if you take a look on the Google Play Store and you're not involved in the beta testing for Lemuroid, the last update will be on July 12. However, if you're currently using Lemuroid, head to the Google Play Store page, scroll down to where it says beta testing, and sign up. It's free. If you do, you'll get a brand new update here that I would argue is pretty important. They've improved the UX when changing gamepad bindings. They've greatly improved directory scanning performances, minor UX improvements to the TV version, and improved overall responsiveness of the application. So overall, this update might seem small to Lemuroid, but it's going to behave a heck of a lot faster. It won't improve overall emulation performance, but the app itself will feel a lot more snappier. Next up here, we're talking about Emulicious, a Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Master System, Game Gear, and MSX, and I think MSX2 emulator. Emulicious just got a minor update. There's been a whole bunch of bug fixes, and they've added in sorting by column to RAM search tool and added a right-click menu. And for those who may be unaware here, Emulicious is compatible with a whole bunch of devices and systems, considering all you need is Java to use it. I'll drop a link to Emulicious in the description below and feel free to check it out. Next up here, we're talking about Launchbox, and I've got two things to talk about. The first one here is the brand new version for Android. It's version 1.5 and they're calling it Precision Navigation. Scrolling through your games is a heck of a lot more faster now thanks to the addition of an alphanumeric index. And this index works on both controllers and on the touchpad. Launchbox has also just added in support for MS-DOS and Nintendo Game & Watch. And if you're on Android 11 or higher, which more and more people are getting to, well, they've improved emulator support for a bunch of standalone emulators. Now, for those who are unaware, Launchbox is a front end for your emulators. It's a program that works with your emulators to try to give you a better experience, a better visual experience. It organizes your ROMs. You open up Launchbox, you can see a nice categorized view of everything, and then click on a ROM and it should automatically launch the emulator for you. Launchbox is not an emulator in itself. Anyways, Launchbox is free for up to 100 games. If you have a collection over that, you'll need to pay for a license, and the price of the license is going up. Launchbox is going from $10 to $15 for the regular license, and $25 to a whopping $40 for the forever license. Now, this price increase is going to happen in October, so if you're thinking about picking up Launchbox on Android, you do have a bit of time before the prices are jacked up. At this point in time, Launchbox is not available on the Google Play Store. If you wanted to pick it up, head to launchbox-app.com and, well, click on the green Download Now button for Android. I'll leave a link in the description below. And if you're on the fence about Launchbox, determining whether or not you want to pay for it, would a free lifetime license be of interest? I've teamed up with Launchbox here. We're giving away 20 lifetime licenses. 10 of those will be for the PC version, and 10 of them will be for the Android version. If you are excited about this, I'll be revealing the full details of the giveaway in a future video. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Next up here, we're getting into some gaming handhelds. Yesterday, we talked about the new Logitech gaming handheld that was leaked. Well, now we kind of have the specs on this device. So thanks to 9to5 Google, I'll drop a link in the description below. Feel free to check them out. This device will have 4 gigs of RAM, be running Android 11, and feature a Snapdragon 720G chip, which arguably is a little bit underwhelming. So I really wouldn't get my hopes up about good PS2 emulation or even good GameCube emulation on this device. It's going to struggle with those heavier, more demanding emulators. It appears that this is more geared towards cloud gaming than emulation in general. If the price is right, maybe, but knowing Logitech here, it might be a little bit expensive for what you're getting in return if you're looking for emulation. Next up here, we're talking about AYANEO. Now, this is not an AYANEO. This is the upcoming GPD Win 4, which features a Ryzen 7 6800U. This is the new AYANEO. It also features a sliding screen keyboard and will be powered by an AMD Ryzen 7 6800U. However, the screen on this one appears to tilt a little bit. Now, at this point in time, the AYANEO Slide is in the prototype stage. We don't know a whole lot more about it, but if you wanted to look at some pretty pictures, I'll drop a link to this site in the description below, and I recommend checking it out. And last up here, we're talking about GDK. GDK has just announced a couple of new products. One is the GDK Mini Plus Classic. This is powered by an RK3566. And it's a little bit bigger than a Game Boy Color. And the second product is called the GDK Mini Plus without the classic in brackets. This one also features the RK3566 chip. And if you take a look at it, it doesn't have analog sticks. Or does it? Apparently the GDK Mini Plus will have an attachment that has 2 joysticks on it that connects via USB-C. It basically turns the Mini Plus into the Mini Plus Classic. Now, at this point in time, we don't know the price of the GDK Mini Plus or Mini Plus Classic or the Mini Dock, but according to Liliputing.com, it's expected to start at about $68 in China, which could translate to about 70 to 80 or possibly even 90 bucks in the US. That seems very reasonable for a device that's powered by the RK3566. This might start taking over the RK3566 market. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a ton today. Let me know your thoughts about any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.